Oh no, I'm going live on my Facebook profile. Oh well.
Greg,
I think
your
that's
your
good.
camera doesn't your camera doesn't move.
Greg,
Yeah,
mine.
Greg,
The
you
start.
gotta you might have a what's it called? The
Yeah, the
lock on.
thing. Wait, that's a timer. Dark mode. How do you do the camera law? Portrait? No.
Also, Greg, so we're live, which is exciting. How do I see if people are also watching? Or
You can see in the top right or the top.
okay.
Wait, I don't. I'm gonna leave and then rejoin. I don't know why
Sure.
it's.
Oh, I see. Let in. There you are.
Okay.
Sweet. Um, yeah, we're good. All right. So, hey Dominic, hey Greg. Uh, we are the leadership team of Stride Souls here to answer customer questions about custom orthotics, foot health, musculoskeletal health, shoes, you name it. So I thought we could start initially, which is something we haven't done, by looking at an actual Stride custom orthotic and kind of talking about the elements that we customize for the given patient to make sure it's as effective as possible. And the whole thing is 3D printed, but I think uniquely the way it's 3D printed is this lattice pattern. And because there's a lattice, you can see through it. And I was curious, Dominic, our head of design, if you could share a little bit about kind of what we see in red here, why these parts are thinner, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, so basically what you see in red is just the top side that shines through. So it's a cushion layer of the top cover that you see on the thinnest areas of the insole. Um, well, certain areas there is more load, certain areas we need a good force transmission, if that's a word. So
Yep.
to make sure that you can walk properly without too much of energy. And this is always good if there's thin parts because then they get hard and you need some ground reaction force, you need some resistance to move forward. And that's the shiny areas, the red shiny areas.
Yeah, and I think you can see it. It's kind of a it kind of goes in this. There's like a diagonal across the orthotic where the redness shines through, and that interestingly mirrors the way that force is supposed to be pressed down during the gait, right? It goes kind of from the outer heel, then through to the under the big toe, the first metatarsal, and to the big toe,
Yeah,
give or take.
it goes exactly like the red line. So maybe I can show here. So you have your heel impact, and then first you go a bit to the lateral side, to the
I
outside
see,
of the foot. So
like this,
yeah,
and then it comes
that's where
back.
you go, and then you move inwards for the push off because the big toe is the only of the toes that has their own flexor muscle, so the own muscle. That's why you can move the big toe only, but all the others only together. So it's the strongest bone of the five metatarsals and toes with the own muscle, and this one needs to get a lot of power for push off.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, Greg. I don't think we talk about it very often that the bottom of the insole kind of shows the map of where your foot should be pressing to the ground during your gait.
It's
Um,
interesting.
yeah. So, okay, now that's the bottom. Flipping it over, there's a couple elements that immediately stand out to me. I don't know how easy they are to see, but there's this little bit of a raise right here, kind of in the toe area. And you might be able to see it better on this side too. I was wondering, Dominic, if you can speak to what this bump is that some customers ask about.
Yeah, so on the outside, it's a little bit of a lift, so it should give you a little push. It's not a passive push, it just gives you a little reminder, hey, now move from the outside of the foot to the inside. That's why it's on the outside a bit higher. So again, to enable the push off over the big toe, because very often there's a rotation in the gait. So people, they don't push off over the big toe, they maybe rotate inwards or outwards, and that's connected to knee pain. So this element gives you a little reminder, push off over the big toe, and the more you walk on them, it gets programmed in your brain to keep and maintain this movement pattern. That's basically what this area is for.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think another unique Stride thing is that the insoles are designed all the way up to the tip. And there is design happening here. I think a lot of other orthotics, they may have some kind of arch customization, but nothing in the forefoot. And that's the reason why the front of the orthotic isn't just some flimsy piece. You can't just, do whatever you want with it. It has a real structure to it. So then coming down, again, I don't know how easy it is to see, but there's definitely like a bump right here leading into the arch. And I guess could you share a little bit about, what the arch bump, for lack of a better word, doesn't go all the way across. It kind of starts in the middle-ish part and then goes over.
It starts in the middle-ish part and then
Yeah,
starts.
so if I touch right here, this
Yeah.
is where it starts to raise for the arch. It's not necessarily the whole width.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As I said, so you're walking, and then first you're coming through the outside of your foot, right? That's where we are exactly. Then we get this little push to the inside, and basically what we do is support a little bit of the transversal arch. The transversal arch is a bit misleading though, because many people think you only stand on the first metatarsal head. So you only stand on those two. That's not true, but there's a little bit of a bow, a little bit of an arch here as well. And that's why we gently raise from here to here the whole length of the metatarsals. Not pointy, but gently, so blood flow is still possible, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. And I think just in terms of how I picture the arch on our orthotics, some orthotics you get just kind of this continuous rise and fall that kind of treats the foot as if the foot doesn't have this transverse arch or additional lateral arches. It's just kind of one curve, but that's really not the case. The arch of the foot is almost like a cup where the outside is contacting the ground during the gait and the inside needs the additional support that the Stride provides. And then the very last thing is the heel cup. A lot of customers they have lots of questions about the heel cup. They don't know, should it be really small? Should it be really high? Can you share, this is kind of our standard heel cup. Can you kind of discuss why this is the case, what a really tall one does, and what no heel cup does?
Absolutely. The heel cup basically is there for the stability of the insole of the orthotic. So it doesn't hold your heel bone in a certain place. That's not possible because there's too much soft tissue around. So if it's too high, it pushes you towards the front. We have a design where the heel cup gives stability in that direction, right? So this is only possible if the medial and the lateral arch are somehow connected, and that's the heel cup, the purpose of the heel cup. Yeah, and no heel cup is good if you have a very hard shoe, like a business shoe, for instance, where you don't have any space, right? We have limited space only. If you would add a heel cup there, you wouldn't fit inside the shoe.
It would kind of push the foot forward, right?
It pushes the foot forward, exactly.
Yeah.
And there we don't need it because this rigidity is done by mostly it's leather. It's a leather heel area, which is very hard, which is giving the insole no way to bend in a certain direction. So for business shoes that are very stable, we don't need the heel cup. For softer shoes that might go in any direction, we need to give additional stability to the insole so it can support the arch with the heel cup.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for kind of going over that with us. This is definitely something that's asked about a lot, so I'm sure people will find that information useful. Greg, I know we spoke earlier. Do you have any shoes prepared by any chance?
I actually have a bunch of shoes with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got three very popular models here. I'd love to start. Actually, I wear these Birkenstocks every day. I don't know if you can see them, but they're kind of the classic cork model here. And I'm curious, as somebody with flat feet, do you recommend Birkenstocks for flat feet wears?
I recommend, yeah, they're certainly compared to other shoes, they're way better than, for instance, Crocs. A lot of people with flat feet wear Crocs. Feet hurt, and then they wear the soft shoes because it just feels good initially, but it worsens the issue. The Birkenstock has some support, like the cork is firm, right? It's still comfortable, but it gives you a little bit of this arch, though this arch support is first very small and it is a passive one. So it just pushes the arch in a certain direction. Maybe if you hold it more central to the camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, are
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys able to see this? I don't know.
We only see a part of your screen, so
Wait. Maybe this
so
is
yeah,
better.
it's a passive. It's a
It's
passive.
kind of
alignment.
dark here.
There
There
it
we go.
is. There it
Good.
is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's certainly better than a Crocs, where what most people use for sore feet and flat feet.
Yeah, and
But
I
there's
think
better
to
solutions, obviously. Like get a sandal and put yourself in a pair of Strides. That would be beneficial.
and I think just to add to what you were saying about the firmness of the cork, after you step on it a certain number of times, begins to form kind of the outline of your foot, but it loses any sort of elasticity or rebound. And that can come with some issues in the long term if you're constantly heel striking really hard and that pressure is going up the kinetic chain. But yeah, I agree. Birkenstocks in general quite good for flat feet, although definitely not a cure-all. And for people that have flat feet but also have severe overpronation, Birkenstocks don't really provide enough supination support, which is one other point I would make.
Hmm.
It doesn't replace the orthotic, but it's
Mm.
certainly one of the better alternatives. It doesn't worsen the problem, and that's also
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
What about do Birkenstocks do you recommend Birkenstocks for plantar fasciitis? I know we get that question all the time. It's a very popular one online as well.
Well, again, what's the cause for plantar fasciitis? It's a unnatural torsion of the foot, some overpronation, just stress on the plantar fascia. So again, here it's certainly better than wearing, again, my favorite example, Crocs, because this will definitely worsen the problem. It gives you no support. You just fall into wherever the highest pressure is. Birkenstock resists that, but it might be too hard in the heel area because it's an inflammation on the beginning of the plantar fascia of the tendon. And if you put too high pressure, hard pressure, cork pressure, it might increase the inflammation. So for the symptom treatment, it's not very good, the symptom of pain reduction or the goal of pain reduction. But again, here, the big toe, it has a nice anatomical shape. So the big toe has enough space to spread and offer additional support during the gait. I think Birkenstock really is not a bad decision.
Do you think that would you recommend Stride sole? Like I know we're coming out with our own sandal as well. Can you take me through why we would be better for somebody with plantar fasciitis than Birkenstock itself? Because they are similar. They look similar, but I think there's some key differences that we should call out.
Well, the function is completely different. They look similar because the strap is a 2-strap or 3-strap, and that reminds you of the Birkenstock. They have this, yeah, they just have that design for linked to them, which is great for them. But the functionality, the footbed, that's the key thing. So with our own sandals, we're gonna treat the cause of the issue, not the symptoms. So we have the same benefits. We have the muscle innervating effect that works actively against the misalignment. with our solution, then you basically get a Stride insole mounted in a shoe, in a sandal.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So if you guys were to give a score for the Birkenstock for somebody with plantar fasciitis, what would you give out of 10?
You want to go first, Dominic? I'll go after you.
Well, scoring, like, let's get a common understanding. 5 means neutral, not good, not bad, right? 4
Yeah.
would be bad, more bad than good. 6 would be more good than bad. So I would say is 6.5, 7. I think it's not too bad.
I was actually going to say 7. So we're pretty aligned. I would say the one other kind of difficult thing about Birkenstock is that it doesn't have a removable insole that you can switch into it. So if you need additional modifications or support, you're kind of out of luck. A lot of people like the Birkenstock because it's comfortable, but a lot of people like it for the style. And I think, to your point, Greg, we're coming out with our own sandal because we know people want the style, but need more functional support at the same time.
Exactly.
But how about you, Greg?
Excellent.
You obviously wore them like for decades, how it looks. What's your opinion?
Actually only like a year, but I do wear them quite a bit. I like the Birkenstock. I think compared to other sandals, like regular thong sandals where it goes between the big toe, this is a better alternative. The cork is pretty comfortable, I must say. I don't think it has the same sensory motor improving strength element when I wear them, but yeah, I think as a wear, I would give them a 7 as well. So overall, we
All right.
recommend.
Good alignment. Good alignment. Next shoe. Let's see it.
Next shoe. This is actually one of my main running shoes. This is the Nike Pegasus. I don't know if I can get the nice which number it is. It's the newest model of Nike Pegasus. So yeah, what are your guys' initial thoughts about this one? I can also show it here too. If you have any. Yeah.
For me, two things come immediately to mind. One is pretty relatively thick sole. Definitely not as thick as Hoka shoes or some other Nike running shoes, but there is a relatively thick sole. The other thing is it has a heel drop, so the heel is higher than the
Or heel
toe.
lift.
Sorry, heel lift. Thank you. Where the heel is higher than the toe, which means that it's kind of unnaturally putting this slant down towards the toes, which has its pros and cons. And then
Right.
can you show me the toe box area as well? It looks to me to be a relatively narrow toe box, which can be an issue for some people. It doesn't allow the toes are meant to be extended. They're not meant to be kind of cramped like this, especially when running. And that can cause long-term injury and pain, but people prefer it sometimes for the style. Dominic, I don't know if you have a more nuanced take.
No, I mean, that's the components I also take a look at very often. The heel pitch is really a thing nobody can explain. It doesn't have any biomechanical sense. In contrast, like, it's not natural. Most manufacturers use it though. So heel pitch is one part that I take a look at. This definitely has a heel pitch. The toe box area, very important. Like, yeah, I don't have to repeat what you said. Those are the elements that I would also consider and take a closer look at. Neutral, like if you take a look at your foot and also take out the insole, the regular sole that's inside the shoe, put your foot on top, and if a toe is like not on the outsole, you probably don't see me, because if you're frozen, I'm probably too, right?
No, we see you. We see you.
Hello.
Yeah, I got you now.
We got you. We see you.
Anyways, I'll ask you
as well, or
Yeah. Let's see. And
all right.
Well, Greg, on that note, can you take out the insole by any chance?
I I actually don't have it for that shoe because I take them out. So
Okay.
I
Well,
take my so this is another kind of actually this is for this shoe here. This is for the
okay.
I believe it's the Vomero shoe. So this is like one of their newest models with a huge
Huge,
heel
huge
lift.
cushioning.
But
Kind
I
of.
think yeah, I'm curious like are cushions good for shoes? Like this shoe is relatively hard when you run on. This one is relatively soft. Um, what are
Yeah.
the advantages or disadvantages of a soft versus more hard shoe?
Well, a really soft shoe like the one on that you're holding now, lets is more forgiving for kind of improper running technique. So if you're going to be landing really hard and you're not going to be moving your foot in a totally kind of safe, healthy way, it's going to mask um, a lot of the typical pain or discomfort that you would feel in a harder shoe if you're running incorrectly. So while it might feel good in the short term, in the long term, whatever kind of improper physiologic things you're doing that are getting masked, they build up over time and can cause injury. So that's like my biggest concern. But in and of themselves, it's not necessarily bad, but they allow for kind of improper movement. Dominic, I'll let you kind of scope that out if maybe you might disagree.
No, right. That's absolutely right. So obviously we need some kind of cushion, especially running on artificial concrete grounds. It's not natural, right? So we need some kind of cushion, but always remember all the structures. And I know I repeat myself. I think I said it in every episode now. All the structures in our foot, they build aligned to the load. So if you take off all the load, all the structures will degenerate, and then you're caught in a downward spiral. Your foot, your bones, your tendons get weaker and weaker, so you need more and more cushion. So I think the Pegasus is also a great shoe for running on concerning the hardness, running on concrete. I wouldn't go too
Yeah,
soft.
Can you show us the insole that it comes with?
sure. Yeah, it comes with this
Yeah,
flimsy guy right
I
here.
think the fact that you hold it and it immediately kind of falls on itself is all the
Yeah.
all the evidence you need that the interior of the shoe is not doing a lot, particularly for the really for everything, right? It's just a piece of foam.
Pretty much, yeah. And then the footbed is completely flat.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's a whole lot of analysis that needs to be done. It's just it will not it will not be corrective or supportive for many different types of foot conditions. But the
Yeah.
problem, kind of like it's the same issue that the Crocs have. They'll feel good because of this really cushioned sole for a while, but your foot is kind of able to do whatever it wants in there. There's no kind of tailored support or repositioning.
So let's put it that way. Every misalignment will amplify with a soft shoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there also the and I don't know if these are related. Is there also the issue when you have such a soft shoe that you're not getting enough feedback to the ground? Like so you're without that feedback, you're more likely as an elderly person to fall, break your hip, these sorts of things when you just have such cushioned shoes that the ground does you don't feel anything.
I mean, what trains your foot muscle is basically that feedback. If you feel a difference on the ground, you're walking on, the body feels that it's an uneven ground. There's a stick, there's a stone, and immediately sends a signal to adapt the foot position, causing muscles to contract. That's how you train muscle. If you take off all the information coming from your foot, you just don't need the foot muscles anymore, and then again you're caught in the same downward spiral.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's a very important piece here. I don't have the Hoka shoe with me right now. I know we're going to do a whole segment on that uniquely, but that seems to be the main issue there is the shoe is just so cushioned that there is no feedback with the ground. Um, and yeah, creates a ton of risk.
I have a question since I have another shoe here. Zach, Greg, I'm wondering what you think. This is do you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Barefoot shoe,
Yeah.
yeah.
very thin sole. So if too much cushion is not good for you, would you recommend running on those barefoot shoes?
Yeah, so I think those shoes so far they look great. I really like, you can tell immediately they have a very wide toe box, which is good, and there's no pitch. It's totally level. Um, my concern would be, especially if someone had foot pain or particularly plantar fasciitis, that perhaps the lack of cushioning might be painful upon initial wear. I don't know what the insoles that it came with are like, but that would also be useful to know.
They were quite good actually. They were not this very cheap foam. It had some bounce, and there were two thicknesses coming with it, which I think is good. So for more hard grounds, one with a little more cushion, for the natural grounds with a little less cushion. Anyways, I wore them on only artificial grounds, and I developed some kind of Achilles pain. Never had
Okay.
that. But that's not the fault of the shoe. That's the fault of our artificial ground. So what I actually did, a barefoot shoe, and I put in some of our orthotics.
Okay.
Probably contradictory, but it is better ever since. I think running on with them on concrete is not enough cushion. I'm not a fan of cushion, but you need some kind of
Yeah.
cushion on unnatural grounds. But in the forests, on the grass, running with those at the beach, great.
Really comfortable. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And I think that's the point of the custom orthotic. It's to kind of make uh, artificial ground behave in a way, if you're transmitting the force all the way up to the foot, behave in a way that it's like you're running in the forest or on natural ground types that were designed for, but unfortunately don't have access to every day. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, uh, we're coming up on the half hour. Greg, I don't know if you have any other final closing remarks uh, for us or for the listener we have.
Hello, listener. No. Thank you for joining us all today. If you want to go and get a 20% discount, we've got HAWKHILL as the coupon
Hawk Hill.
code for 20% off. That's Hawk Hill. And look out for our Halloween savings. That's coming up in a day and a half now.
Awesome. Thank you both so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Zach.